Usually when I was pregnant, though, I didn't like peppermint.
All right, let me have your attention, please. We're going to get started. If you would turn your attention this way, you can continue eating. You can help yourself to more. I think my wife is going around with cookies if you like them. All right. So thank you to Miss Charity for fixing the meal for us. Thank you to the church for providing it for us. Well, so thank you, Pastor. I want to go over some important things for the upcoming year, as well as just initially go over some important things that we haven't gotten to go over as children's ministry workers. And I want to start off by saying a big thank you to you for being a part of our children's ministry on some level, some of you on multiple levels. And I really appreciate what you do, and I want to kind of align our vision as to where we're going, what we're doing, get everybody on the same page about some things. Again, the contact sheet is coming around. Make sure to sign that if you would. Put your current email and cell phone on there. That would be a tremendous help. Our new logos, which you've probably seen around the church a little bit, especially if you've been up in the kids' classes, stand for Grace Kidz. I've had people ask me, what is that GK all about? Well, if you didn't know already, it stands for Grace Kidz, which is the name of our children's ministry. And that is our children's ministry as far as Sunday ministry and Wednesday night is under the heading of Grace Kidz, and you'll be seeing those logos a little bit more. And our purpose, or our theme statement, our mission statement, if you will, of Grace Kidz is this: combining faith with fun so children can experience God's love and grace through a personal relationship with Christ and others. Our desire is that we want kids to come here and we want them to have fun. We want them to enjoy being in church, but we want it to be centered around faith and around the Bible. And we want them to look forward to coming to children's church or to Sunday school or to Wednesday night club, because we want them to enjoy learning the Bible. And we do that by fulfilling this mission, this statement. And the way that they're going to experience God's love and God's grace in their life on a personal level is ultimately going to be through many of you right here. They're going to come to know God personally through you and your ministry to them. And not only are they going to come to know God's love and grace through their own relationship with God, but they're going to come to know it through the relationships they make with other kids, as well as the workers here. And so I'd encourage you to memorize this, maybe write it down. I'll probably be giving it to you at some point on written materials. And I'd ask you to commit it to heart and to memory, because that's really the purpose of what we're about. And at some point in time, we will probably dive into that statement much deeper and with more thought and more expounding on it to let you know really what the purpose behind that is. We have a new theme for our Wednesday night program as well, which is the Grace Kidz. But our Wednesday night program is called Kids for Christ. And that's the logo that you'll see along with that. And that would be for both the bitty age and the older kids on Wednesday nights. So most of that will take place as it has. We've kind of had some rearranging through the remodel, and now we're actually in place where the classes are permanent on Wednesdays and Sundays. If you have any questions about those, just let myself or my wife know. I want to get the policies and procedures handed out to everyone. If I can have a couple helpers here. Thank you, sir. You want to help us with that? Thank you, sir. Make sure everyone that's a worker here in the room gets one of those. And we'll go over just a few things on there. What I'm asking you to do with this is to keep this, to read this, and to refer to this. So it's important you don't just toss this aside. Now, preferably, you're not going to read it right now, but take it with you and read it. We'll go over a couple things that are in there. Once you get one, you'll notice a few things that I want to point out to you. And for sake of time, we're not going to be able to go over much in here, so I'm trusting that you're going to read this and familiarize yourself with what our policies and procedures are. These are different. These are updated from previous policies or procedures that you may have received. And so it's very important that everyone reads these. You'll notice on the first page, section 1, number 5, the general dress code for workers that we encourage and ask you to follow. Of course, men serving in ministry, collared shirts or ties. Women, we ask you to wear skirts or dresses that go to the knee or further. And so help us with that if you would, and that'll help us all to stay on the same page so that we can just have a standard for ministry as far as the expectation there. And so if you have any questions about that, by all means, feel free to ask. On the next page, page number 2, Section 3, number 1, you're going to find some instructions on injuries and medical emergencies. It talks about a first aid kit in that section, and we have two first aid kits available. One in the downstairs cleaning closet room right off the foyer, if you're familiar where that is. And then also, there will be one in our Kids Blast room closet, which I'll tell you about here in a few moments. But there will be one upstairs in the Kids Blast room closet and one downstairs in the foyer closet. On Section 4, it's on page 3. If you look at number 2 and number 3, there's a couple of things I want to point out to you. It talks about decision cards and incident reports. And these are both available in the Grace Kidz room. And they're available on the little table there in between the closets. If you haven't been in there since the remodel, we want you to go in there, see where those are. You'll see where the 2 closets are, and there's a table right in the middle. All right? And these will be on that table or in the resource closet. But they'll probably be on that table. And you can access these anytime. If you have any child that makes a decision, whether it be salvation or otherwise, we would ask you to fill one of these out. Just turn it in to me, put it on my desk, make sure we have a record of that. And then if there's incidents that happen or accidents that happen, we're asking you to fill out one of these reports. And very simply, we want you to write down what happened. If it was an incident that someone got hurt, or someone was bitten in a class, or someone got punched or got in a fist fight, or we had some serious behavioral issues that the parents need to be notified of, that's when these need to be filled out. All right? And that would also include accidents. If someone falls and gets hurt, or someone has a physical injury, that needs to be reported so we can put that in a file, and that's for our benefit as well as theirs. Any questions about those? All right, if you go to the section number 5, you're going to find some policies and procedures on discipline, and these are very important that you look over and read and follow. We won't go over all of these, but in general, of course, we don't allow any physical discipline of any sort with the children in children's ministry, nor can we give threats of physical discipline to the children in children's ministry, even if they're your own kids. For the sake of the other kids who are in the class, please do not tell your kids you will wring their neck when they get home. Always watch your tone of voice, maintain a positive attitude. There's a specific procedure we ask you to follow with how to discipline and how to do it systematically. So follow that, read that. If you have questions, by all means, let us know. And then there's some actions that require the children either being taken home, taken to their parents, and we want to make sure that everyone who works with the kids is familiar with those policies. A couple other things that are in there. Line leading is very important in children's ministry. We never want to allow the children to go somewhere from class to class, or Sunday school to children's church, or the children's church to the bus without being led in a line. And the only person allowed to lead a line is a worker. So make sure, workers, we don't ever allow the children to just go on their own, because if children lead lines, they don't stay lines for very long. They become herds very quickly. And so we want to make sure that we always lead lines. And then also there's one rule in there I want to note, and that's called the line of sight rule. And that is that a child, all children in ministry on any given day should always be within the view of a worker at any given time. All right? So there's never a time when any children can be out of the sight of a worker. And just make those a part of your mindset when you're in ministry. A couple things as far as classroom cleanup we're asking you to do, and these are going to be somewhat new to you, but want to make you familiar with what we expect. Whether you serve in Sunday school, the children's churches, the Kids for Christ on Wednesday nights, we are asking you to help straighten up and clean up those rooms each time that they're used. And this will tremendously help our janitorial staff, and it's very simple what we're asking you to do. If you would pick up any trash by hand that is left on the floors, if you would straighten the chairs that are in the room, just neat and straight for the next time it's used. And then also, if you're in the Biddy Church, which is the little room in the hallway downstairs, We have tables in there now, and if those need wiped off, or if you've used crayons or anything that's marked up the tables, we encourage you to wipe that off before you leave, so that that stuff is not having to be done by our janitorial staff. We can leave the room presentable, and that's our ultimate goal. We want to leave the rooms presentable, because sometimes they get used in between times before the person comes in to clean. All right, and so that helps, so that if it is used in between those times during the week, it is ready for the next use. But also, it's just good stewardship on our part to be responsible with the areas that we use. In the Biddy Church, if they have snacks down there, or if they use Play-Doh or things of that nature, and let me just say this on the Biddy Church. Preferably no glitter, all right? And all the workers say amen. No glitter in the children's churches if we're doing crafts or other things, because it gets everywhere. And you find it 3 weeks later, not just in the church, but everywhere else. Yeah. So no glitter, please. But if you do use other things like Play-Doh or you have snacks, just pick that stuff up off the floor as best you can, by hand as well, and especially the Play-Doh, because it gets ground into the carpet. Pretty simple. Pick up the trash by hand, straighten the chairs, and wipe down tables as necessary. And team leaders, if you're a team leader of children's church, I'm not expecting you to necessarily be the one in charge of doing this, but delegate your team to do that, and just make that the expectation that, hey, before we leave on a given day, let's make sure things are straightened up, or ask even the kids to help you with that. And the kids are usually more than willing at the end of the class to help pick up and straighten up. A couple things that we want to be on the same page as far as dismissal, and this will help with each of those who serve in children's church or kids church, or Biddy Church or the kids church. The ushers will inform you each week when the invitation starts, so that you can know it's time to get the kids finished up on the program, get them lined up and ready to go. And when they do, Biddy Church, we're asking you to separate the lines for the bus and the church kids or the parent pickup on the blue and yellow walls. It really doesn't matter which wall, but as long as we have them separated on those two walls, that the bus line can be let out, and then the parent pickup line can be on a separate wall. All right, so if we can just be consistent with that and try to have those kids already in place and already ready for pickup. So if you have something planned for that last 3 minutes or 5 minutes where you're having them line up, you might have a song planned that you can sing or something to occupy their time. We want them to be ready when their parents come to pick them up. All right? And does anyone know what the most two important times are in any class? Two most important times of any class with kids are the drop-off and the pickup time, because that is the only time that we ultimately have interaction with the parents, and that is their only impression of our entire class time. When we have an awesome program, and we may really light it up during that hour, but if we're very unorganized and we really don't have our act together when the parents come to drop their kids off, or when they come to pick them up, it doesn't speak well to the parents, and that's what they're judging our entire performance on, if we can call it that. So let's be mindful of that, that we're organized for the accepting of those kids, make sure someone's always greeting the parents and welcoming the kids, and then the drop-off time as well. For the kids' church, we want to separate the lines for bus and parent pickup on the yellow wall in the back for the bus. And then what works best? Matt's going to know best on this. What works best for the church kids? Because most of the parents seem to come to this door versus the other one.
They're slowly converting to the other door.
Okay.
It's a process.
It's a process.
We kind of put a work-ready door.
Okay. Would it be easier just to have them on that wall?
The back door? Probably all right.
Be all right?
it doesn't matter to us so much as one or the other, as long as it's communicated.
Okay. All right. Well, if most of the parents are coming to the back, the bus's line should already be dismissed by that time. And
well,
so
they don't have to come up the stairs that way. If they go the other way, they have to come all the way up the stairs to get their kid.
Oh, so you can see them downstairs?
Yeah.
Oh, so maybe that's the case.
That's for real.
Yeah. We're all parents, we know how it is. Okay, so we'll try that. So the yellow wall, which is the back wall, just think yellow bus, yellow school bus, that's where the bus riders go. And then that green wall is where you can put the kids for parent pickup and dismiss them that way. A Couple things about dismissal. Kids are not allowed to be released without parent or an approved person to pick them up. All right, so a parent or an approved sibling by the parent. Okay, never allow a visitor to be released to anyone other than the parent. Okay, so if we have a first-time visitor, it doesn't matter who asks for them. Don't give them away unless it's a parent. Okay, just politely tell them that we need to make sure